Hello YouTube, this is Fishes for Life, and I'm coming at you with another video. It's like almost 11 o'clock at night here, but I wanted to make a quick video. The subject today is how I manage the pH in my aquarium. So, when I started the fish keeping hobby, of course I did some research, but I didn't research everything. And I really knew nothing about pH in aquariums or how to manage it. I got my tetras, and after getting my tetras, and of course I should have then done this before, but after I got my tetras, I had 3 Colombian blue reds. I did some research on the particular species, and I found that they needed a pH of around 6.5. I'm like, 6.5? Like, how do I do that? So I got some aquarium test solution. I got the solution, not the strips, because it was cheaper. And found that my pH was like 7 or above, so it's pretty high. And I had my pretty blue, sorry, I can't talk, my pretty blue gravel in my tank, and I'm like, how do I get this pH down? And I mentioned the gravel because that's going to be an important part about how to manage your pH. Gravel tends to make your pH higher. I don't know exactly what it is about it, but it tends to make your pH a lot higher and very, very hard to lower your pH and to maintain it at that level. But at the time, I didn't know that. So I went to the pet store and I got the API pH down. And this is a chemical you really need to be careful with because it's almost like acid that you put in your tank, and if you overdo it and overdose, you can burn your fish. And I was really nervous using it, and I had used it, like they say every hour to couple hours or so. I don't remember the exact time, but I did, within the times they said I would do this, and I'd test my water, and I found that the pH still wasn't going down. And then when it did, it only stayed down for a couple hours before it went back up again. So I'm like, well, this isn't working. And I don't want to use it because I didn't want to put a lot of chemicals in my tank and I didn't want to harm my fish in any way. So I looked up other ways I could lower my pH. And I found that driftwood and peat moss really helped. Peat moss actually works as a great filtration media. I use it in place of carbon. My water stays clear perfectly, and it keeps the pH at around 6.5. I had a piece of driftwood in there that's now in Hydra's tank with the moss on it. And yeah, I know the algae in there is bad, and I'm going to clean the algae off the walls, but I'm kind of going to leave some of it on the plants for when I get my bristlenose pleco, because it'll be kind of cool to watch him eat some algae. But anywho, sorry to sidetrack. So I started using peat moss in my filter, and at the time I had the aquarium filter that came with this tank. And I used that instead of carbon. And here's the thing with peat moss, it works very well. You can get it at most local aquarium stores or online. It is a little expensive. You got to make sure you use the right amount though, because if you use too much, your pH is going to be too low. And it will make your water a yellowy tan or to brownish color. Like, it won't be cloudy, but it'll make it like almost a tea color. Some people don't like it. I kind of do because I feel like it looks really natural, but that's really up to you. And that worked for a while. And then my first bout of ick happened. And this was quite a while after I got my aquarium. I'd say about 2 to 3 months when I was able to have all 6 fish. Because I started with 3 Colombian blue reds, waited a couple weeks, and got 3 serpes. Well, one of the serpes must have had ick or something, because my whole tank got ick, and one of my fish died. And I was treating the tank, and I thought I had gotten rid of it after the one fish died. And things were fine for a while. couple months actually, and then the water got really cloudy and I had to take all the water out of my tank. It got like really brown and cloudy. It was nasty, and I don't know how it happened. And you know, being a beginner aquarist, you get what's called the new tank syndrome, where you have all these problems. And it can be very discouraging at times, but I'm glad I didn't give up. And then shortly after that, another bout of ick happened. And I'm looking at like how to get rid of this. I'm putting in the medicine day after day after day, and it seems to like not be going away this time. And I'm like, what is it? You know, it happens in cycles, so it can take a while to get rid of, but I felt like this just wasn't working. And then I even got food that was an anti-parasitic medication in it. It was the New Life Spectrum Therapy. And I'm looking up stuff. And then I came across one post that said, you know, like, ick can kind of, or other parasites can kind of stay alive in your gravel. Like, it's really, really hard to get out of your gravel or your substrate. And that bleach also does not kill all the parasites. So I'm like, oh crap. So what I ended up doing is I got rid of all the gravel from out of my tank. And I sanitized the tank in salt water. And I had my fish in a smaller quarantine tank for a while. And I opted to get sand the next time around. And the good thing with sand is it's pH neutral. So my pH was no longer super high because of the gravel. Now it was perfectly neutral, and it was a lot easier to keep a stable pH. So that's all I really do now to keep my pH stable. It stays exactly at around 6.5. My fish are happy. They seem to like it. The betas can tolerate many levels of pH. They're very hardy. They're not super picky about their water. Tetras tend to be really picky, and D'Artagnan's the only one left in there now. Because the second bout of ick literally got rid of, like, 3 of the 6 fish I had, and then the one died of a swim bladder problem. So, I mean, I kind of had a rough start with my tank here, but I'm really glad I didn't give up, because I've learned a lot, and this is really what the fish keeping hobby is about. You make mistakes and you learn from them. So that's my advice to you. If you need to keep your pH at a certain level, and like most tropical fish tend to like acidic water, so if you need to have a lower pH in your tank, I highly recommend using sand and peat moss and or lots of driftwood if you can. Driftwood I didn't do a lot of because it's really expensive to buy. Maybe there are other places you can get it cheaper, but the peat moss for me works the best. And that's really all you need to do. Of course, you can always do it with chemicals, but I really wouldn't recommend that because, again, it's like putting acid in your tank. That's not really going to be good for the fish in the long run. So this is how I manage the pH in my aquarium. I encourage you, if you guys have a certain way you like to manage the pH in your tank, to share it. I would like, to have some ideas flowing around, and let's all learn from each other. So I hope you're all having a good night, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.